And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to Gem in the Crypto, episode 1157. Today is Monday, October 16, 2023. And I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto most days, Monday through Friday at 10ish. And today's top stories: U.S. government among largest Bitcoin hodlers with over $5 billion in Bitcoin. California Governor Newsom greenlights crypto regulation bill for 2025. Tether freezes 873,000 USDT linked to terrorist activity in Ukraine and Israel. And crypto payment option for Honda cars only works via third-party platform. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick look at these prices on the day to see what's happening with Bitcoin. Today is actually looking really good for a lot of folks. I know people are excited. In the next week or two, I believe, we'll be deciding on a grayscale ETF, more than likely going to get denied. But right now, some of the things that are happening is that the SEC isn't going back to a judge to try to slow down this process of even reviewing it. So they're actually going to review it this time. This would be, I believe, the actual first time the SEC would be reviewing any ETF. Now, if they plan to let Fidelity and BlackRock and some of these other guys and gals in, it would make sense for them to go ahead and give the cosign to the ETF right now to Grayscale, but they could be holding out for their friends over at BlackRock. So Grayscale could get denied. If they do get denied, they'll probably shoot an appeal, launch an appeal to the judge where they say, hey, why are denied? We want to know the exact reasons, and they're not sufficient enough. We should go ahead and get this. So you can expect, I think, them to get denied and them raise an appeal, and then they go back in the same review cycle as a lot of other ones are in, which wouldn't come out until like mid-February, I think, off the top of my head. But again, there's always a chance that they could accept it, and I'm saying all this because I think this is playing into the price point today. Bitcoin just dropped, but it was at 28,000 and some change, $27,912, up 3.81%. Ethereum, one of the lowest has ever been in recent time, $1,574, up 1.35%. Number 5, Ripple at 49 cents, up 2%. Number 8, Cardano, 25 cents, up 2.32%. Number 10, Tron TRX at 8 cents, up 3.25%. Trending tokens, Loom Networks up over 600% in the last month or so. Big Time and Bitcoin, Fear and Greed Index at a 41, so down one, or actually up a one or two from Friday. And let's see, Bitcoin dominance at 50.5% and Ethereum at 17.6% as well. So there you have your prices on the day. Still a lot of sideways movement. But again, this is good because I feel like we have seen our darkest times of the year for the most part, and we still have stayed sideways. For those who call that 17K as the bottom, I know a lot of you did, may have been the bottom. I still think a black swan event could drive us down if something bad were to happen. But if nothing terrible happens, then yeah, it should be smooth selling until this happening. And then from there, start the commence of a bull cycle the following year. But let's go ahead and give some quick shout outs before we jump into these stories on the day. Satoshi Slim, BK Crypto, No Cap, Chloe Dior, Raquanji, Eyes Ray, Patrick Watcher, No Cap, KW1, KB, PFC Wills, Jake. Good morning, everyone. Make sure you all check out that stack show that just dropped before, and I think Weekend Crypto dropped too. I didn't see the update on it, but I did see Stack dropped about an hour before this show. So make sure you're checking out all these awesome shows on the channel as well. Let's see. Have we seen Coin Telegraph report iShare ETF approved and took down the tweet? LOL. I didn't see it, but yeah, I've been hearing a lot of talk on the back end. So more than likely, I wouldn't be surprised. Jake said he was the one who called it 17K bottom. There we go. Maybe it will, but we'll see. PFC Will says something will mess it up. We're going into the holiday season. Scammers going to scam. I think so too. Like there's a strong chance that somebody could still crash this market. So we'll see what happens. But top story of the day, we're going to be talking about the U.S. government. We thought they weren't holding any Bitcoin. Boy, were we wrong. They said, hey, we know, y'all know we gang. We're going to get our hands on that Bitcoin. U.S. government among largest Bitcoin hodlers with over $5 billion in Bitcoin is being reported. The $5 billion estimation is based on 3 major seizures linked to the Bitfinex hack and Silk Road, meaning the actual holdings could be much larger. I think the actual holdings are much larger if you're just going off of this, because that's going to give you your 5 billion right there. And throughout the years, we always see U.S. Marshals and FBI and so on and so forth, whatever government agency sees crypto. So we have been seizing crypto the last, like, since 2017. We know this as a fact. The United States government has. A few times that seized crypto has been resold along the lights, of course, of Tim Draper was allowed to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. That's how he became a Bitcoin millionaire and billionaire, whatever. So they have been sold at auctions, but there's a lot that hasn't been sold and really hasn't been talked about. So I would say this is fair, at least $5 billion in Bitcoin for the United States government, which is why we're on the sideline trying to slow this thing down and don't really care about its growth, because the U.S. is like, hey, we're good to go if it were to happen. The U.S. government has become one of the largest Bitcoin hodlers with over 200,000 Bitcoin worth more than $5 billion, despite selling a few thousand Bitcoin worth millions earlier this year. According to data analysis based on public findings, crypto firm 21.co estimated that the U.S. government still holds 194 and 188,000 Bitcoin, estimated to be worth $5.3 billion. The firm noted in its analysis that these are lower bound estimations of the U.S. government holdings based on publicly available information. So again, based on that publicly available information, I believe it. You crazy if you don't think the CIA has Bitcoin by now, right? They're doing international terrorists and cyber criminals, and there's like facts. Let's talk facts. The United States military, the bigger units, when we deploy, we have cash on hand, hundreds of thousands, if not sometimes short of $1 million, right? I'm gonna say again, when large military units deploy overseas, we have cash on hand. This is a fact. This isn't me. I think, no, this is me saying for a fact. I know certain units have a lot of cash. The reason why is because when we're over in these different countries, if we don't have certain agreements with them, and one of our soldiers, airmen, sailors, or whatever, I don't know what you call Space Force, right? I gotta give Space Force jokes in there. If one of our service members has any trouble with that country for whatever reason, and we don't have any type of predetermined agreements where they're handing people back over to the U.S. and letting us prosecute or figure out whatever issues we have, then we have to go to cash. Like literally to this day, we go into the bank, whatever unit you in, you go back there, talk to the right people, you get the cash, you give it to the government, the police, or whatever, these foreign countries, we get our service member back. Don't nobody say a word. Nobody's none the wiser what happened. But that is actually what happened. So you are telling me the CIA doesn't have Bitcoin? And they're talking about there's a North Korean Lazarus cybersecurity group. No, listen, if they're dealing in international cybersecurity and everything else that has to do with crypto, which we know the government is doing, I would assume the CIA is on top of this as well as the FBI. You better believe they have cryptocurrency that's unaccounted for by the American government, for sure, or at least unaccounted for to the general public. Maybe not to the units in the military budget, but to the general public, it's unaccounted for. So I'm saying all to say that, yes, I am sure there has been business the CIA and other agencies had to do with other people in other countries who said, we do not want your cash anymore. I would rather just have this in Bitcoin or crypto. And they made it happen. Like that's more or less likely has already happened. So when I add in things like this, I have to say, well, how much money in Bitcoin does the CIA have? Do they have 100,000 just from, small buy-offs and payoffs, or do they have 10 million worth? I don't know, but I know they have something there for sure. The analysis tracked the Bitcoin movement of the U.S. government wallets associated with the three largest Bitcoin seizures since 2020, namely the Silk Road seizure of 69,369 Bitcoin in November 2020, the Bitfinex hack seizure of 94,643 Bitcoin in January of 2022, and the James Zong seizure of 51,326 Bitcoin in March of 2022. Really quick, literally, the United States government, gang, you gotta love them, got all of their Bitcoin and became one of the largest Bitcoin holders by being a gang. I told you, gang. Let me hold on. Yeah. Y'all thought the American government was going to earn our Bitcoin. We was going to buy it like these companies. You thought we was going to mine it, waste our energy like China. No, the United States is good for having a military budget. We good for putting our foot down motherfuckers' throats. All right, we're good at delivering democracy and freedom. And with that being said, we don't pay for Bitcoin. Yo, we are literally represented by a gang. We have got our Bitcoin holdings from taking it. We took it from a guy who made an internet website where you can trade things on the Silk Road. We took his Bitcoin. We took the Bitcoin from a guy who created an exchange, which got hacked. So, boom. And then I'm not even sure who the James Zone guy is. I gotta look that up. But literally, the U.S. government got his Bitcoin from seizing it. You have to love it. This is supposed to be unconfiscatable. All right. In the case of Ross Ulbricht, okay, of course, they caught him literally with his laptop open and just snatched it out. Like, that is the most gangster shit. They literally caught my man leaving the ATM with cash in his hand and put a gun up to him. Like, oh, freeze, motherfucker. I want all that money. All right. So the government got him like that. The other two, I'm not sure how they got that back, but literally the only way they can get it is if someone gives it. So it's crazy that they have this much from this way. I would love to see the American government has the most Bitcoiners, a large Bitcoin holder from years of mining, from years of trading, from creating the best exchanges and whatever, right? Things that literally move the market forward and are innovative. But no, we have the most Bitcoin from doing what we always do, and that's being gang affiliated and taking shit. All right. We a bunch of takers. Oh, James is Silk Road too. That's why it's back in the day. All right. So we got 2 Silk Roads. That's what I'm talking about. The government Bitcoin stash is kept primarily offline in encrypted storage devices known as hardware wallets, kept under the Justice Department and the IRS. We can definitely trust them. That money probably gone. I wouldn't be surprised if that crypto is already gone, honestly. The U.S. government made 2 significant seizures in 2022. Something else I would like to point out with these Bitcoin seizures, it's timeliness. Something like they're talking about 2020, 2022. They're not even talking about the 2017 seizures that the SEC took from, or I guess those are mostly fines, so they probably paid them in dollars. But I was going to say, I know the SEC was aggressively after a lot of companies from the 2017 ICOs, but in general, this is incredible. I guess it's good that the U.S. government is still a huge Bitcoin holder, so they don't feel as much as a threat of national security if Bitcoin were to take over. But this is definitely big news. Seize assets do not instantly belong to the government. Yeah, I heard that from Debo. It's both our bikes. We're just gonna keep it at my house, right? The U.S. Marshals Service, the principal agency charged with selling seized property, only receives possession of the seized Bitcoin after a court issues a definitive forfeiture judgment. The U.S. government also sells a portion of the seized Bitcoin from time to time through an auction system based on court liquidation orders. The most notable government auction dates back to 2014, when billionaire Tim Draper bought 30,000 Bitcoin from the U.S. government auctions in 2014. So, of course, we talked about that. That was a big one. But yes, U.S. government is doing what it does, and it wants your Bitcoin, and it wants it now. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. They said, we're not doing no extra shit to get this Bitcoin. We're going to get the Bitcoin the same way we got everything else, the old-fashioned easy way. What do you mean, the old-fashioned easy way? We're going to trade? We're going to barter with it? No. That is not what makes America strong. Not by trading and bartering. That is not the foundation of the American people. All right, we're gonna get that Bitcoin. All right, we're gonna get that crypto, boys and girls. Let me check out the comments, see what you all are saying. Let's see. See, no, that top story really is that iShares ETF approval tweet by Cointelegraph. Hey, we gotta have it official though. We gotta have it official. That's probably why the price jumped though. Let's see. OC Benji, that ETF pump and dump was hilarious. Oh, everybody is saying that was an ETF pump and dump this morning. Okay. PFC Wells said Marshalls are the only agency that sells them all. Interesting thing to note is that no one is tracking the actual wallet address. So why is this story coming out? So yeah, one thing I actually do want to talk about that's the thing I forgot to mention about it. That I did like is that while they're not, I thought they were tracking the wallet address. Actually, hold on. Let me find where he mentioned it. Yeah, the analysis tracked the Bitcoin movement of the U.S. government wallets associated with the 3 largest Bitcoin seizures. So they are tracking the wallet address of the seized wallets. I actually like that. And again, this is the power of Bitcoin to me, is that literally from 3 years ago, we can track all the crypto movement from those seized wallets. So I think that's pretty interesting. That's like the coolest part of crypto to me. Like that technology to where it's just like we're not able to see the ledger. Only the banks are, only the government is like, no, y'all the ones doing the stealing. I want to see the ledger. So I think that's pretty cool. We can actually see the ledger now. Let's see. Jake said push price to 30K short, got liquidated, and it shows what kind of God candle we're going to have on approval. That is true. Okay. But see, again, that goes to my point of even if we have that God candle on ETF approval, how long will it stay? And what will it look like? Will it be a 30 to 45K candle? And if so, will it dip back down to 28K in 3 weeks? Because again, I'm not sure. I guess it's the excitement fervor, but just because we have a bit, let me minimize this a bit because I've said as many times, oh, I am perfect. Just because we have a Bitcoin ETF does not mean there will be mass buying of Bitcoin. They did not buy mass buying. They didn't buy Bitcoin in masses for futures contracts. These are derivatives and they're settled in cash. I see the ETFs being the exact same thing, a derivative settled in cash. You don't technically need to have a lot of Bitcoin. You can take one Bitcoin and then say, it's divisible up to 100 million folks and start to go crazy with that one Bitcoin. We have $10 billion of derivatives, Bitcoin ETFs attached to one Bitcoin. I don't know the rules of it or how it does, so I'm not going to try to talk out the side of my neck right now. But what I will say is that where there's a will, there's a way. If a private company can convince a government regulatory body that one Bitcoin can equal 10 billion Bitcoin ETFs, and this is good for everybody, it's going to be good for everybody. This is how, I think you all, our warriors, know this is how the gang rolls. You get what I'm saying? If they can, if JP Morgan, if BlackRock, Wells Fargo, one of these people can show the government, hey, I know it don't make sense. I know it. I know it don't make sense. But if you only, from a regulatory standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, if I only have to buy half of Bitcoin and I can say there's $5 million worth of Bitcoin ETFs on this half of Bitcoin, oh man, we're going to go crazy. That would drive the price of Bitcoin down, people, like all the way down. So again, I know it's supposed to be excitement about the ETFs. I'm excited about the market morphing and shifting even further to see what happens with the next. But again, I mean, hey, again, like it should work so that banks do ETFs and they buy Bitcoin to back it. Don't get me wrong, it should work like that. All I'm saying is do not be surprised if they hit us with the pump fake and they like, oh shit, I ain't about to buy no Bitcoin. I'm just selling this ETF shit. Like I'm selling this ETF shit till there's a bank run. Then I'm gonna pull out the money and move, and I'm gonna do the whole court thing. And by the year 2040, we'll figure it out. By that time, I would triple it. So those are my thoughts on that. All right, with all that being said, oh man, speaking of 2025, man, my segues are crazy. Listen, this was one I did not like to see. Wow. California Governor Newsom greenlights crypto regulation bill for 2025. Really quick, I'm looking at the comments. Can we start talking? So here's the thing. No, not really to Hyben, and I think somebody else asked as well. Reggie Middleton, what's going on? I see Reggie in the chat. A couple things. I see people asking about hardware wallets. Sometimes I do get into wallets, but this isn't really like a show to talk about like wallets per se. The morning show is to keep up with news cycles. We do have the masterclass if you want to buy that and get into depth in wallets. I'll invite you to join the YouTube, Discord, and group, or just use the chat right now. There's plenty of smart warriors in the chat for simple questions like wallets and everything. Literally, the people in the chat can get you straight. So just ask the folks in the chat. They're going to get you straight. Trust me. But no, not enough time, unfortunately, to go back to wallets. And honestly, we got like probably 1,200 videos on this channel. We still have a lot of tutorials on the channel. So literally just go to the channel playlist, and some of the earlier videos are covering wallets and some of the things like that. So they might not cover which new wallet is out there, but they cover like the basics of wallets and stuff like that. All right. And then also in the description, of course, we've been promoting iCoin Wallet. That's who I'm partnered with, iCoin Wallet. So if you do need a hardware wallet, use that code in the description, grab that iCoin Wallet. All right, enough of that. Governor freaking Newsom. I mean, woo, man, California. That's all I'm going to say. The bill will mandate cryptocurrency firms to adhere to licensing requirements, maintain financial records, and provide regulators with the authority to conduct audits. Can you believe that? Like, we are getting along the lines of socialism and communism. How do like, for one, these things have to be voted on. So like, where are all the people outside of bankers screaming to our government politicians and regulators to say create a bill where we're going to force private individuals and businesses to allow you to go through their shit just because it's a new market, you're allowed to go through their shit. Like you can do an audit. No, like no, and why? Because it's money. Like literally because it's money. That is the only reason why. They are not doing this with fucking Pokemon cards and things like that. It is literally because this fake money starts to make real money and they cannot control it. Now, one thing I will say about this, uh let me bring it back down to reality for the analysis part. This is important for a few reasons. First, the bills for 2025. I think that's where we're going for the entire government. I've already seen other things pop up that was mentioning late 2024 and 2025 in regards to regulations and compliancy. For what I'm seeing on the back end, it looks like the United States government is planning to make a strong, concerted regulatory push for crypto beginning in 2025 and probably seriously enforcing it in 2026, 2027. And this is also what I mean by our government is making plans for 100 years type deal, 50 years. They're not making plans for 5 or 10 years. And I say that this way because they don't know who's going to be in Congress, the politicians, the Senate. They don't have these answers for 2025 already. There will be new elections by then, yet the government is still on the same page. I say that to say this is why I don't care about red or blue, Trump or Biden. Yeah, they have some nuances and differences, but I'm trying to tell you they're on the same team. So no matter how different they are, they're on the same team, pushing that team's agenda forward. And that's more federal oversight over states and more privacy of the federal government and more public citizens when it should be the other way. So I just want to make that clear. So I think this is a part of a concerted effort, a concerted push for crypto regulations in 2025 and to be enforced in 2026. This is important for all of us. Why? Because that is the amount of time we have to go crazy. And I hate to even say it, for some people, it may even be worth selling. I won't say the majority, but making sure you sell by that time to get your needs met, whether it's a house, car, whatever it is. Like by that time, after this happening, 2025, we go through that same pump we saw in 2017 and 2021. Be ready for 2026 to be some bullshit. All right. 2018, it was a futures market and a bear market for crypto, right? Like securities were trying to turn ICOs into STOs. The party was over. 2022 was fucking crypto companies scamming people in front of them and people allowing it, and then the government co-signing it. I mean, you literally had Terra Luna and their algorithmic stablecoin, which you all believed and bought. Still to this day, for some reason, people argue that with me, which is hilarious. The project's dead, but still it worked. And then they bought Bitcoin with your money. Then you had freaking that was Terra Luna. Of course, you had FTX. We don't need to talk about that. Then you had Celsius. That was 1 year after the boom. Same thing's going to happen. 2024 happening, slow build up. 2025 madness. That's also going to be the year the United States starts to put out mass regulation. And then in 2026, they're going to be like, hey, I know y'all made all that money last year, but we also put out guidance and regulation last year. If you didn't abide by it, we coming back in 2022, 2026 and 2027 to get that money. Again, my suggestion, you know this is coming. This is the timeline. Start planning around it. Make sure you're broke by 2026, 2027. Ain't nothing to get. And honestly, with this bill, I'm about to shred it in a second because the one thing all our regulators and politicians and everybody who keeps talking about crypto want to create bills and blah, 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 they keep missing out the protection side. They keep trying to make bills so they can have the whole market going when it comes to licensing, compliance, and we got to put government regulators in your office and we're allowed to do audits, but they're forgetting the protection side. That same company could have lost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to crypto. Are you going to make them whole, United States government, or are you just passing crypto regulation and guidance just to do it? They keep forgetting. It's a double-edged sword. Like, you make people whole if you're going to be able to conduct an audit whenever you want. When I lose money, I want you to give me the money. That's not happening. It hasn't been happening. I don't see it happening anytime soon. And fourth but not last, I think the government is shooting themselves in the foot. If they go down this road, which we're going down, looks like over-regulating crypto, again, I don't think our government can account for the losses we're going to see. Like they just said it was like 60,000 Bitcoin to one hacker from Bitfinex. Like that's what we're talking. We're talking about sophisticated hacking groups. Some ran by government, some ran by organized crime groups. But we're talking about groups that are going in to take the whole pot of money. They're not taking some, they're not getting individuals. They're going in saying, we want all $10 billion. We want all $600 million. When that happens, the government will not be able to make everyone whole unless they're going to literally just take from taxpayer money to give Bitcoin to people. It makes no sense. So again, this overregulation, I think, is already a step in the wrong direction. Why? Because we can't protect the people, right? We can only regulate them. So to get into this, this has some nasty, nasty writing in it. But this is California Governor Gavin Newsom, who I have no clue was allowed to stay in office, has approved a cryptocurrency bill that enforces stricter regulations on businesses conducting crypto operations set to begin in July 2025. People, I tell you, the last thing you want is for California to have regulations on the entire market. We are like, the taxes here are absolutely crazy. People, you have to be like, to live in California, you got to be rich in the rest of America outside of like New York and Miami. Like straight up, you got to be rich in America to live in California. Like, you do not want them to take over the regulatory cycle of all cryptocurrency. This would be scary. In a statement, I mean, it's already scary once you hear what he said. In a statement published on October 13th, Newsom declared that the bill, titled the Digital Financial Assets Law, will make it mandatory for both individuals. That's right, people. It will make it mandatory for both individuals and firms to obtain a Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, DFPI, new buzzword, there we go, license to engage in digital asset business activities. Where the hell did the DFPI come from? All right, so let's keep track. Securities, SEC. We got futures, NFA. I think it's National Futures Association. We got commodities, CFTC. We got the IRS. They want their cut. Internal Revenue Service. We got now the DFPI, Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, which looks like makes regulatory things or something. I don't know. That's fine. Like, goodness gracious, everyone wants their cut, yet no one believed in it. You can read more about this bill here. It is trash, basura. It is garbage. It says this bill will require a licensee to maintain for 5 years after the date of the activity certain records, including a general ledger, maintained at least monthly, that lists all assets, liabilities, capital, income, and expenses of the licensee. Wow. Again, this is a job for crypto companies. Like to list every last asset you get in and out of. Now, I do think we're going to have software come along where that is going to be automated for us here in the crypto space. I see that coming. It's already kind of there. So that's not as big of a deal, but still, like, to put this type of stringent regulation on an innovative company and companies in an innovative market that's just getting their stuff together. And again, they're saying, hey, we're not doing this until 2025. You get 18 months to get it together. So again, probably 2026 is when the enforcement is going to come. So from right here now, they're giving us essentially 2.5 years. But still, I have to ask, why? Who asked for this? Is this going to create more of a mess? Now you have to have more government workers who have to be trained to learn how to go over this. Then they have to go over this stuff. Like, then the company itself has to hire more people to actually log all this stuff and audit themselves. It's like, that's not what they're in business to do. They're in business to create NFT. They're in business to create a new way to seamlessly transact with anyone on the planet. They're not in the business of figuring out a way to record and note everything they do. If that's the case, I want to flip that back over to the government, to California, with the same thing. I want the same audits. Where is all the money in California going? We have the largest GDP of like bigger than most countries on the world. We're not even talking about the US. Definitely like one of the largest in the US. But the Californian GDP is bigger than countries. Other countries we're bigger than. And they want to go into private companies and get all their information. Yet we can't get all the information from our public government. This is madness. I'm not with it. Another reason I have to seriously start to look at possibly leaving this fucking state, because goodness gracious, they're trying to put a license on your boy. They trying to hit your boy with some licensing. This is crazy. Like, and then again, that's my point. Who is California Governor Newsom to say, hey, for the likes of the kings and the warriors out there, We know you all been in crypto since 2016 and beyond. You've been doing this on a daily basis, and we have no clue what the fuck you're talking about or what's happening in the market. Yet, we are going to give you, other mature adults, guidance to tell us everything you're doing, how and when, to tell us everything you're a part of in this space, and you're not allowed to grow and do things you want anymore. Like, how does it work? Like, I just don't get it. It's like the government comes into McDonald's and say, yeah, we don't like the way you've been doing burgers. We want you to do your burgers different. In fact, we're going to regulate this whole burger shit right here. This is like, bro, we've been doing burgers for a very long time. Can you please step back and give us 50 feet? This is absolute madness. But again, I have met so many people now who just, oh my God, people do not want to be truly free. Okay. People, they want the government to tell them what to do. They want banks to hold their money. They want all, like, again, these are the same people on a good day that let you have their wife. I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. It's California. So you have to understand what type of people these are. But in places like California, the blue hair crazies are the majority. And they're going to say crazy things like, I don't understand crypto. I don't get it, but I know we need to regulate it, and it will be regulated as we're seeing it right now. Absolutely insane. You gotta love it. You gotta hand clap for the gang. I mean, for the government. Hand clap for the government. At least they're giving us until 2025, so I can't be upset about that. They're giving us a whole 2-year warning to tell us that they're about to come in and do some gangster shit. Thank you for that. I do truly appreciate that warning, at least. Let me go ahead and look at the comments and see what you all are saying. All right, let's see. Comments. I'm seeing some great comments out here. Let's see. U.S. kicking indoors with no mask. They want it. They take it in the name of freedom, says No Cap. You already know. Didn't they already dump a lot of that seized Bitcoin from 2017? Yes and no. They did definitely have public auctions, I remember. But honestly, if you also remember, they were seizing so much at that time. It wasn't like we were able to keep up with, oh, they seized this amount of 20,000 Bitcoin. Oh, the next few months they auction it. No, it was more like CCC's big auction, CCC's auction, CCC's auction. So it was like I wasn't able to really keep up with it. For me personally. Let's see. PFC Wells said they're not talking about pocket checks from 2012 to 2016. Feds and local law enforcement were running all types of sting operations. Oh yeah. Oh, shout out to Reggie Milton. He defeated Coinbase's petition. I can't talk. He defeated Coinbase's petition to invalidate his patent. We smacked him down hard. Shout out to Reggie Middleton for defeating Coinbase. Ooh, it's about to get spicy then. If Coinbase actually did do a petition and you did defeat it, then that shows just cause. That essentially Coinbase told the world that this is real. They actually shouldn't even done a petition, because then they could have been like, we don't know what Reggie's talking about. But since they did a petition, that's them saying that this is real. We wanted to stop. Judge, what can you do? And as Reggie said, it looks like they smacked it down. So shout out to Reggie Middleton. And let's see, he also said they have effectively hardened the patent for us. Yeah, I said the same thing. I didn't see the comment. Reggie said they have effectively hardened the patent for us. And the USPTO has now twice effectively considered me the official inventor of distributed finance as defined in the patent. Woo! Shit. Listen, Reggie, just remember this show need funding, all right? I need to keep these lights on and give this good crypto news every day. Hey, seriously though, shout out to Reggie Middleton. He's right. Like, that's not what you want to do as a company unless it's a clear win. If somebody's coming after you like that, then you want to, hey, I don't know who he's talking about. He has to go to court and take me down from, like, if I was Coinbase, I'd be like, Reggie has to go to court and take me down. He has to spend, but by Coinbase trying to be proactive and say, hey, we're going to stop this, nipping in the bud. And then it's like, no, actually you're wrong. Just got spicy, Coinbase. It just got really spicy for you all. And Reggie is on your doorsteps. There we go. All right. Satoshi Slim said, check the charts. It was definitely a quick pump and dump story. I wonder who got paid and who's going to pay as far as this morning's ETF story and the price. Okay. Let's see. PFC Will said that's not the same as tracking. Oh, you meant tracking the agency wallets. Great point. Okay. So PFC Wells, earlier when I was mentioning that story about tracking the government wallets, they track the seized wallets. He's saying they're not actually tracking the government wallets, so they're tracking those seized wallets. He's saying, what is the government address? Great freaking point. My point exactly. While California is saying every individual and company needs his license and we need to audit, I want the government Bitcoin addresses. Why don't we have the government Bitcoin addresses? It's taxpayer money, right? Like this is a great point. See, this is why Trent has that weekend crypto, folks. He's keeping us up to date on all this capital flight stuff. Oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that. That's great. That's great stuff. Let's see. Jake Fever said that's the opposite view. I think it would be a tool to expand the BS financial system to have another asset to borrow and lend money against, another tool to create more fiat. I'm assuming you're talking about the ETF. I agree with that as well. I think it's going to be another tool to boost the fiat system and to keep Bitcoin weak, which is why I said people are getting excited. But I'm like, at the same time, if Bitcoin were to freaking drop to 10K and stay there for the next 6 to 10, 12, 15 years, don't look around and ask why. It's literally the ETFs and the commercials and the narratives that are going to be running behind that. And yes, Reggie, please call in Friday. We would love to hear about that news live as well, to hear what else is going on. Price Cobbs, thank you, said California can't really deal with or mitigate existing issues, let alone start addressing crypto. We literally have a state with over 100,000 people that are homeless, and we're trying to figure out how to regulate new technology. Like, we have more homeless people here than some countries do. People, it's fucking crazy. We have just as many homeless people in the state of California as some of the smaller states do people, like in the United States. Like, this is absolutely insane. That's the same governor that's saying, "Hey, let me give a crack at this technology shit too." You can't be good at everything, people. You literally cannot be good at everything. You can be good at many things. Trust me, I know I'm good at many things, but you can't be good at everything. And yes, I'm using slurs and half speaks. I'm saying can't, not can't. I'm saying can't, because this is the only thing they understand, it seems like. All right, let's get into Tether. Tether freezes $873,000 USDT linked to terrorist activity in Ukraine and Israel. I'm not going to get into the story because I've already seen how, like, I know people are split on this Israel and Hamas and Palestine thing. It's been split for forever. I have my own thoughts, but by and large, I'll keep the thought like this. I don't see those groups talking and helping a lot of American people when we're going through shit. So I'm going to let them mind their own business as well. What I will say is that I hope the violence stops, especially for the innocent people. But the reason why I'm covering this story is because I've seen it twice now, and I did not cover it the other day. Binance also restricted some accounts linked to, I believe, Hamas folks. It looks like Tether is doing it as well to different people in Ukraine, Israel, and so on and so forth. That's not the story. What the story is the restricting of accounts. Okay. I'm not getting into who the good side is, bad side, whatever. Listen, rent in California will have my ass homeless. I don't have time to think about this. I'm sorry. I really don't. Like, rent in California will have us homeless. And literally, come to find out, for those of you who saw my story, I freaking live next door to the Israel, what is it called? I live next door to the Israel, like, embassy or whatever, basically. So, I mean, it was going down outside my building yesterday and the day before. Literally, I saw 30 police, 20 to 30 police cars just drive up my street, block it off. I can't even go outside my own street right now. I don't live in any of these places. So for me, this is very traumatizing to be experiencing. Seriously, I moved to this nice side of town and spent all this money to get away from those protests back during COVID. And now I got them right on my doorstep again. I didn't want them for America, and I don't want them for foreigners either. Don't care, okay? I got my own shit. Now, with that being said, I'm going back to the point of this story, and that is the restricting of funds that Binance and now Tether is doing. Slippery slope. This is why Bitcoin is important. This is why it's important to self-custody, not do what the government's trying to tell you and say self-hosted wallets are illegal. You essentially need hosted custodial wallets, which are centralized wallets from exchanges. This is why it is bad. It is going back to old business of doing things where we're saying you're allowed to have money, you're not. You're allowed to have resources and access, and access to whatever capital and everything else. You're not allowed to have these resources. You're not allowed to have access and all these other things. I do not agree with that. I don't think it's fair. Now, to be fair, I'm human. I get it. If it were my enemies, I wouldn't want them to have access to cash and resources and banking. But it's one of those things we have to make it more of a human right rather than just like a privilege. Everyone has to have access to bank. Everyone has, I mean, literally having this type of access might stop some of the fighting. Not saying that for sure, because I know it's over land and other things. But bottom line is, this is the slippery slope of centralized exchanges, of any type of centralized part of cryptocurrency, is that they can decide who to restrict. Now, the slippery slope of this even further is what happens when it comes to an American election? What happens when it comes to a foreign election? And all of a sudden, there are enough people in power, or at least enough of screaming, loud crazies, even though they're a minority, they're the loudest people in the room, and they can convince everybody to do things. If you can convince a whole room to stop allowing banking for people who vote a certain way, for people who look a certain way, like, that is such a slippery slope. We've seen what happens when we do that in history. Humans are beyond capable of using that to their advantage and doing nefarious things with it. So I think we need to nip it in the bud. We need to stop it. Right or wrong, you cannot say, oh, these people aren't allowed to have these wallets. Or I'll take that back. You're allowed to do it. You are allowed to do it, especially on these platforms, these exchanges, the Tethers of the world, the Binances. I mean, especially, let's get super evil with it. It's like a child trafficking group or something that's super evil. And it's like, we want to stop them. We have to stop them. We should stop their funds and everything, right? The thing is, we just have to be correct. That's what it is. Because at the same time, it could just be a political opponent. And you could be screaming the same narrative, and people could be like, hey, cancel those accounts. Truckers in Canada, cancel those accounts. Like, such a slippery slope. So again, I'm not here to debate whatever side and all this other stuff. Listen, my life's hard enough. I'm just here to say, this is the problem with centralized places in crypto and Bitcoin, is that they control it all, and then they decide who's allowed to bank and who's not allowed to bank anymore. That to me is a very scary thing. It's super scary. I know some of my views might be high and right. Some of your views might be high and right. Who's to say who's right and who's wrong and things, right? But for other humans to be able to literally grab other humans and be like, not only are we going to kidnap you in some cases, but we're going to stop all your capital. You won't be able to live, essentially, and we'll turn you into a criminal, because I have no clue how you can be on the straight and narrow and not have access to capital at all. Like, to me, that's creating situations that don't need to be created. So slippery slope. Just want to say that one more time. Definitely is. But it is happening. And again, these are the use cases. We're seeing it happen in real time. You get a war here, you get a war there, all of a sudden accounts start getting frozen, and people realize that their crypto, or they realize not your keys, not your cheese, right? We all know that here at TGOC. All right, let me look at some of these comments. I know you all had some interesting comments when it comes to this specific issue of the restricting of funds, not of what's going on in the world and the fight and all that. I'm going to keep it crypto right now when it comes to restricting other funds, not who's right to do it, who's wrong to do it, or what side is what. I'm not well versed enough, nor do I want to be well versed enough. I'm still trying to save the East Side of Detroit. Speaking of which, shout out to Detroit. I'll be there in November. I'm gonna come for Thanksgiving for like a week or whatever. Probably do some meetups. Last time, Crypto Blood, we linked up, went to Cigar Lounge. Just during COVID though, so it was kind of like, only the real ones was outside. The Cigar Lounge was actually closed, man. It was like you had to do a secret knock and everything. You go up some stairs. It was packed in there. It was packed. I was like, oh, we had an underground lounge and stuff. I love it. So for all my Detroit folks, I'll be in the city next month for like a week during Thanksgiving time frame. Hit me up. I'll probably be doing some shows. I might actually stream with CB, so I'll hit them up as well. But yeah, if it don't got to do with East Side Detroit first and foremost, and the rest of America, like, you already starting to lose me. So please, let's keep it to the crypto. With that being said, let me go ahead and check out some of these comments. Let's see. Okay, Bitwave glided about a month back for the product line. Okay, cool. Let's see. LOL, not the burgers. Listen, they're gonna come tell me how to do burgers. I'm telling you. Satoshi Slim said, my coworker said that's why the big lotto winners are always in California, so the government can get the most on its tax of jackpot next day. A California one. I can actually believe that. Like, the jackpot winners, the big ones, are only in California, so government can get. I can see that. You definitely ain't gonna let nobody win no $1.2 billion jackpot in fucking Florida or Texas, right? Like, no. That is a great point, actually. Walking away with that money. Hey, Craig Davison, you get what I'm saying? Look, hey, everybody read Craig Davison comments. You know that ain't crazy. He talking about the wife stuff. Listen, listen. I have I'm going to get my regular podcast back started because I got so many stories you all would not believe. And I see comments sometimes, I see statements. I'm like, you all, no offense to you all, even I know you're in some great cities, you're living in bumfuck America or beyond. That's like, and trust me, when California and New York are totally different. This is not I always tell foreigners in California and New York, like, this is not the rest of the United States. This is actually the minority. The rest of the United States is the majority. So I do get it, but this is a very big and strong and powerful minority. And I am telling you, I always see people talk about something like, oh, I can't believe they do this, or this is happening, this, or this is weird, or this. I'm like, nah, this is a Tuesday in California. So more on that. And a lot of don't have to do with crypto, so I'm gonna let it go. But yes, it is some very interesting things that go on here that is super normal. I was just seeing today, it drives me crazy. I see today on you all know someone, whenever there's a Facebook ad with an interracial couple, like, people go crazy in the comments, like, they're just trying to push this woke agenda and stuff. I'm like, most ads are shot in Hollywood. Hollywood, people are going back and forth between genders. So interracial couples are as normal as anything. I understand it's not normal in some backwood towns in the United States, but in California, where they're actually creating ads. So it's always funny. You see these Facebook ads. If you go under an interracial couple, people are going to go crazy. Like, oh, they're trying to push this agenda. And it's like, bro, these ads were created during COVID. Almost every casting says, come with your real girlfriend or boyfriend or somebody you know. So they're not even casting anymore. These are people who actually know each other. Yet heads are exploding over interracial relationships. It's like, you really think people are changing their sex and not having interracial relationships? Are you out of your mind? So there's a lot of interesting things in California for sure. Loki says, salute to Reggie for hitting the rock bottom of those jabronis. Jake Fever said, I want Reggie to win a lawsuit and become rich as fuck. I'm so tired of how everything infringes on his patent and his patent in general. Sheesh. I would love to see Reggie become super rich in this community, in this market, especially after seeing the likes of fucking BitBoy and the FTXs of the world. And like, you giving all these people money. Like, come on, let's spread the love there. Let's see. Craig said crypto should be autonomous and not constricted to individual virtues. I think we'll get there one day. I think as machine learning grows, AI, all these other things, I think we will get to the point where maybe not all of crypto, but there will be a possibility where we'll be able to make Bitcoin autonomous. And I think that will change the game. So we'll see. Zyro, great point. Zyro has a great point. King, haven't you learned the primary lesson of history? People never learn from history. That is a great point. That is a great point. People never learn from history, which is why you need to learn history, because if you can actually learn history and kind of master it, it's going to happen again. You can literally, like, perfect example, really quick. Classifieds. I learned there will always be a classified section. There always has been throughout history. There always will be. No matter what, there will always be a classified section. The modern version of classified section, like you had in newspaper, was Craigslist, right? The even more modernized version of that now is like the Yelps, the apps. So the next time we have a new technology, whatever it is, you better believe somebody's going to put classifieds in that technology somewhere along that line of technology. So for me, it's like, all right, I know now we ever have something new pop up and nobody has done a classified ads yet, I can start that business overnight and make money. Boom. That would be a money-making business. Same thing with websites, right? Whenever we get new, like right now, people are doing it with the .ios, .eths, the same thing you saw with regular wwws. People are buying the website names for everything in the crypto space with hopes of people doubling back to have to buy that name back. And guess what? It's already been working. So website names, classifieds, like some of these things are going to continuously repeat themselves throughout history. So once they do and the new technology is created, we go to Mars with flying cars, wherever else, we need classifieds there. So yes, history does repeat itself. And if you're set up the right way, you can and should be able to make money off it as well. PFC Wells, no, I saw the screenshot from Gen V from the Boys spinoff, but I haven't seen it. He said but they're blurring the gender line with people who can change gender at will. Yeah, like I said, so it's people mad about interracial relationships. I'm like, bro, y'all have no clue what's happening out here. They talking about they trying to fuck aliens, all right? With that being said, last story of the day, crypto payment option for Honda cars only works via third-party platform. FCF's PayX's account has been suspended amid circulating misreporting about his partnership with Honda, which has never happened. Yep, major automobile manufacturer Honda does not accept cryptocurrency payments directly, but people can use cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin to buy a Honda car through a third party. Now, essentially, they may a lot of publications essentially announced that Honda was accepting Bitcoin crypto. They got excited, ran that story, no small little pump. Honda had to come out and said that we don't do this. The policy is incorrect, but you can do it through a third party. Now, a couple of things. This isn't like novel. That's how it usually is right now. For a lot of these big companies, they're doing it through third parties because it's just easier, because that third party are the technical experts. Like Honda is probably like, yo, we don't have any technical experts we trust as a department head to do this here, nor do we want it yet. It's brand new. It's not regulated, blah, blah, blah. But we understand there's a want, so we'll add on this third party to process everything and do it, and then essentially they'll process, give us the money, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. We've seen it across the board. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If anything, this is a strong base hit because they're testing it out. You better believe if the volume that goes through that third party exceeds a certain number, Honda's going to take it over and make it internal. They're going to make it in-house, or they're going to buy that company and say, you all do it for us and every other company we can get our hands on. So right now, it's just that volume's too low, right? Let's say only 10 Hondas are being bought with Bitcoin. Let it become 80% of the Honda fleet is being bought by Bitcoin. They will take that over overnight. So again, I think this is great. This is what I call a double. It's a base hit. It's a double, right? We got the second base on this. Closer to becoming home to Bitcoin, using it for everything. This is a good news story. I see other companies following suit saying, hey, you can pay with Bitcoin. We're not doing it yet. We're using this third party. Once they become more comfortable with it, once a lot of the volume starts to become Bitcoin, then they'll take it over as it makes sense. Other than that, that's the show for today. Great comments I'm seeing. Make sure you smash that like and share. So the schedule this week, a couple of things. So I'm super Hollywood heavy, if you haven't noticed, as of recently. So for the strike, you can't act at, but you can do commercials. So I've been eating. I got to eat, folks. I got to make sure I can buy my Bitcoin before the halving happens as well. Plus, the news cycle is slow. So with that being said, unless it's breaking news, do not expect to see me back until Wednesday. Then I'll probably just do the same Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week as well. If it's good news, though, if it's something breaking and it's big, hey, I'll be back. I'll be live and direct. You know it, but that's just a heads up on it. And then also, I know I missed it a week ago, but I will be back on Discord this afternoon and beyond to take that over as well. So I'll make sure I start dropping when I'm coming and going in there also. This is a long show today. Glad I got to see everybody. Shout out to the Warriors. The space is alive and well. The market's moving in every direction. Listen, they trying their best, people. Hey, Governor Newsom, licensing, SEC, fine them. They're not security. Whatever government, ETFs, private companies. They're trying everything, people. So the news cycle is slow, but not the actual cycle of value. It's still a lot of things moving behind the scenes. This market is entertaining. It's exciting. I actually plan on going to the Bitcoin conference this year, so I actually throw that out early. I'll talk to them super early to make sure we can get great discounted tickets. But yeah, I'm gonna go this year. We're gonna have a good time. This is gonna be a great year for crypto. We're gonna have it happening. Excuse me, I'm already talking 2024. I'm excited. I'm talking 2024 already. We're gearing up for a great year in crypto. So with that being said, happy Monday. Have a great week. I see you all by Wednesday. If not tomorrow, cheers. Until next time. Smash that like and share.